Florida cops decided to beat up an unsheltered man. They have now been charged with crimes. Let's put their pictures up full mask here. Once again, scumbags in my opinion. The two Hialeah, Florida cops, 22-year-old Lorenzo Orfila on the left and 27-year-old Rafael Otano on the right are charged with armed kidnapping and battery after they allegedly kidnapped an unsheltered man, drove him to an isolated location and beat him while he was handcuffed. Orfila is also charged with official misconduct. So keep their pictures up. December 17th. So you're right around Christmas. When the officers responded to a disturbance at a shopping plaza and encountered this man, Ortega Gutierrez, Jose Ortega Gutierrez. He's an unsheltered brother who is well known in that local area. Mr. Ortega Gutierrez was handcuffed and put into the back of their police car, despite surveillance footage from the scene showing they had no reason whatsoever to take him into custody. You see, they are aware that cameras are in the general area. They're the police. They decided to do this extremely illegal thing known as kidnapping on camera. This is how brazen the police have become. Instead of being taken to jail, they took Mr. Ortega Gutierrez to an isolated location where he was beaten and thrown to the ground while still being handcuffed. GPS on their vehicles showed both of these cops drove to a field outside of their assigned sector. Also, neither cop turned his body camera on. Ortega Gutierrez said he lost consciousness and woke up unhandcuffed, alone, and bleeding from his head. He started walking and happened to come across an off-duty officer who was walking his dog and called 911 for him. He told police what happened to him and was taken to a hospital for treatment. Thank God he ran into some decent cops. One of the officers who responded to the scene was contacted by the other cop who inquired about the condition of the man that they had beaten and asked the officer to classify the 911 calls as no report. Orfila also told the officer that they had dropped Ortega Gutierrez off and roughed him up, admission of guilt. Days after the incident, Ortega Gutierrez was approached by 45-year-old Ali Amin Sila, who claimed to be a private investigator, offering him $1,200 in cash to sign an affidavit stating that he had been arrested for drinking, had not been beaten by the officers. Ortega Gutierrez doesn't know how to read, and he didn't know what was in the affidavit, but signed it for the money because he's unsheltered and he was desperate. That alleged private investigator has now been arrested as well. How did this happen? There's no humanity. Listen, an unsheltered man already having a difficult time, and that's how you respond to him. There are a lot of things I want to say. I'm not able to say because we're on TV. But the world has a way, gentlemen. The world has a way. In scripture, we say, reap what you sow. The world has a way. All right, dear brother, thoughts.
Earlier, you used the term brazen, and I appreciate you using that term because it shows we're on the same page. Because I thought the same thing. Because these officers were under impression that this unhoused individual, this unsheltered man, Nobody must have cared about him because they treated him in such a way that they thought that they can get away with this and just move on with their lives. And an attorney earlier said something about the release of these officers so they can get back to their families. Are you for real? Like, this is a real thing that they said in front of people in order for these criminals to be released. This was, as you stated, it took place days before Christmas. They could have done a number of things, including simply, which by the way, this wouldn't have been great, but like simply taking him to jail. He didn't do anything wrong, but apparently it would have been better than what ended up happening to him, what they did to him. Completely awful. The lack of humanity is horrible. And I strongly feel like they did this because, again, since he was unsheltered, unhoused, nobody would care about him, including friends and family. And so I'm glad, let's give him credit, an off-duty officer was walking and did the right thing.
Yep.
And these officers, and the picture was up earlier, they are guilty because they tried to cover it up. And let's put them under the jail.
Yeah, and this is renewing our call, obviously, for the George Floyd Policing and Accountability Act, so that we can have the background necessary to know who these cops are, and we can have the resources taken away from police departments who routinely protect individuals like this. This story is still developing. We will bring you more updates as they come.